Hello, BookTube, and we're back for another Wednesday chat. So I hope everybody's doing okay. Hi, Mark.
Hi, Sean. Hi, everyone. Hi, Gerald.
Doesn't seem to be anybody here yet. Oh, no, there's three. It just pops up three.
There you go. Usual suspects, maybe.
Yeah. So how's your week been, Mark?
It's quite busy. I have to say I'm feeling quite tired. Work, I'm not used to it. After 2 months off, it's a shock to the system, but it's fun. It is always fun to be with kids. I have a kids club at school on Wednesdays after school, looking after the younger ones, and we played games, and it was kind of fun actually. I did enjoy myself, and so that was pretty good. And I got a book from one of my subscribers, which was nice. I can show it actually. I don't know if they want me to say who it's from. I'm quite happy to, but I haven't asked. But it's called The Buried Book. It's a book about I guess, the story behind the Epic of Gilgamesh, and how it was brought to light and all that kind of stuff. So it looks very interesting. I'm really looking forward to getting into that. So that was nice to get that today. And the rest of the week, well, it's been kind of fun. I've enjoyed the Two Truths tag that people have been doing. Two Truths and a Lie. It's been good fun. I just posted before we went on. I posted my answer to that. So if you got it right and you're watching, congratulations to you. You don't get anything for getting it right though, apart from satisfaction. And I don't know, there were some other things. I enjoyed Michael K. Vaughan's video yesterday about the rules for reading, and kind of made a response to that. And then I see MJ from Reading This Life made a tag, and she's tagged me in it. I don't know if you were tagged in it, Sean. If not, you should have been, and if not, I'll tag you in it when I do it. Although I'm not sure how much of it will be a repetition of what I did yesterday, so I need to really look into that. Reading-wise, there've not been a huge amount of dicks in my reading, to be honest. I've done short stories. I need to crack on with The Big Sleep, and I was dismayed to see that almost everybody else has finished it, which is, well, good for them, I suppose. I'm almost finished a book called Jar of Hearts, which is the Black Hearts Book Club book that's run by Very Literary Carrier. That's been kind of fun. It's a nice, easy read. I think I'm due to start Frankenstein sometime this week, later this week, early next week. I need to double check exactly when. And there's a few other things that I should be reading. What else is on the back burner for the moment? I can't remember, but I got distracted and by two books. I said I wouldn't do it, but I went ahead and I started reading the third Charlie Chan book, and I'm halfway through that. I have to say, I absolutely adore them. He's so good. He is so good and so underappreciated and underrated. It's like really returning to an old friend. And 2 days ago, I decided to. I watched. Gosh, I've forgotten her channel name. I'm so sorry. History Page. No, I don't know. But I'm apologies, my brain. But anyway, she reads a lot of nonfiction and a lot of history, and she kind of made me realize how much I'm missing that. And I was looking through my Kindle books that I have, and I found a biography of Charles I, and thought, yeah, I'll give it a go. And it's really good. It's really interesting. I'm thoroughly enjoying it. I don't know too much about him, so that's it really. As I say, there's another thing that I know I should be reading, and the Yiddish Policeman's Union. That's right. I'm about chapter 15 now, chapter 16 of that, which is also very good. I'm enjoying it, but this is the problem. We come up with this event, and my mood hasn't fitted with it, which is kind of frustrating because I love these kind of books, but I just maybe haven't felt it. So I need something, as I say, like this Charles I biography to kickstart me, and I need to finish something. So I'm thinking, actually, because I took it to school today, although I only read 10 pages, I'm thinking of reading this because it's like this big. And I'm sure you've probably read it, Sean, and if you haven't, you would have seen the film. It's Closely Observed Trains by Bohumil Hrabal. He's a Czech writer.
No.
Have you seen the film?
No.
Well, it's a film. It's a Czech language film, but it won an Oscar, I think, back in 1960 something. Maybe more recently, actually. I don't know. But I think it's in black and white at least, so I know it's not that old. But it's just follows the story of this young guy who, what really in occupied Bohemia during the war, under the Nazis towards the end of the war, and there's something to do with the Holocaust, which is why the trains are mentioned, and the town is like on this train junction, and it plays a big part in the community. And I don't know if you know the author Bohumil Hrabal, but he's quite a famous Czech writer. He wrote a really good book called I Served the King of England. And he was just a real character. So he's somebody definitely worth reading to anybody. And I say that to you, Sonia, by the way, hello. And Yuri, hello to you too. And anybody else who's watching. But yeah, if anyone wants to try a Czech writer and doesn't want to read a massive book like The Good Soldier Schweig by Jaroslav Hašek, then you can try Bohumil Hrabal, because his books or novellas are quite thin, as you can see from this example. Probably the biggest one he wrote is Maybe I Served the King of England, as it's over 200 pages, but that's it. Hi, Winterlind. So yeah. So I might knock this one out tonight or tomorrow, just so I can actually finish, a book that comes up in Goodreads. Yeah, because sometimes, I've been knocking out these short stories, but they don't really allow me to knock them off my Goodreads and make me have that satisfaction in reading. So sorry, I've been rabbiting on there, Sean. What about your reading week?
It's better than it's been to a certain extent, but the heat has sort of dissipated for the most part, but I'm just not feeling up to par. I'm not resting much or resting all the time, and my breathing has taken a dive. So
yeah, you sound congested or something. Is definitely.
Well, I have to take a breath every couple words, sort of, and try to get a deep breath every so often. So it's not fun. It's hard laying down because the breathing gets really bad at times. But yeah, I've been reading, continuing on with Robots and Empire by Isaac Asimov for the Future History Project. I'm making my way through it. If not done tomorrow, I'll be done on Friday. I've been reading a few essays here and there, and short things like letters, specifically the Lord Chesterfield's letters to his son, and started reading those and doing videos, which are dying a death, but I'll continue for a little while. So we'll see how those go. The only problem is pitfalls of this stuff is that, like, the first two letters are all written in French, so I'm not touching those. And then he quotes Latin, French, and German, and whatever. Who knows what other language that he'll start quoting to his son from 1700s.
It's a shame, though. It really is a shame, because I think these are the things that should be popular, because they're unusual, and they are, I think, very important. Essays, letters, journals, diary entries, all these kind of things, and they're just fascinating. And yet, you're right, the videos themselves tend to perform quite poorly, and it's one of my frustrations with BookTube is that I find after a while you can see a lot of repetition. The same things going around and around and around. So it's hi Amy, good to see you. I think it's a real shame when when someone reads aloud an essay or letters and that kind of stuff doesn't get more.
Thanks, Amy.
I didn't see that. Chesterfield. Yeah. I read it as Chesterton. So
Yeah, did I say? I don't know what I said. My
I think you
brain's on.
said Chesterfield. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
But about them, you mentioned that the son's letters. Now, the son's letters don't exist, or he actually just didn't reply to his father.
Oh, he replied because they do mention, or he
Oh, okay.
mentioned. But as far as I know, I don't think any of them are. I've never seen them. I've never tracked them down. But you'd think with various editions that they would have put them in.
True. Yeah, it's a shame though, isn't it? It's a shame. It's nice when you can have both sides of correspondence.
So the son thought more of his father's letters than his father thought of his son's letters, possibly, or it could have been
Good point. Yeah,
somebody else.
actually. Yeah.
Could have been somebody else though that he might have kept them. Um, he might have kept them, but then a descendant got rid of them. Yeah, Chesterfield. Yeah,
Yeah, that's
fine.
it, isn't it?
But they're nice and short, so that's the good thing. Because I used to, when I went to university, I used to read them through. Like I'd read a couple every morning or something like that before I got the day started, and they're just fun. It's like things like, God Almighty, really? you know, uh, you're sort of surprised at stuff that he's telling his son to do or things like that. And the good one, the first one, was all about, speaking well and me mumbling through the letter. So
it's funny, isn't it? As well, I think these things make those people from the past seem more human or more, that gives a realism that we don't otherwise have for them when we can read their letters. I found the same thing reading, the Mozart's life in letters. His father was writing to their neighbor who was like his best friend, and he was complaining about a toothache, and he was saying, how I get with my tooth, and it was so ordinary, but it's just so fascinating to just see how really they are just like us, even though 2 centuries or whatever more can separate them. So
well, it's like the diary that Amy's reading, the Emily Shore. I'm beginning to like that more and more, but yeah, to get an older copy is almost impossible. You have to get a newer reprint by, I think, Virginia University Press, and that's still pricey. But it's things like that that are really, really interesting because it's just, yeah, they just everyday things that people are talking about. And like the Amy and the one that Amy just did, it was like I think she's like 14 years old, the girl that's writing, or 15, and she's talking about her mother, talking about education, or children education, and the father was saying, yeah, well, it's not always just because they may not be stupid. It's the mother's waiting with like a baton that, or a stick of wood that as soon as they get in the house, they get flogged with it. Oh, she was 13 in 1833. Yeah, it's just amazing.
I mean, I remember my grandmother telling me, and I don't know if it was her mother. I think it might have been her mother. That when she learned the piano teacher would sit there with like I guess like a wooden ruler or something like that, and every time she made a mistake, she got rapped across the knuckles. And needless to say, she didn't want to carry on the piano after that. So definitely
Well,
different.
when I went to school, there was definitely corporal punishment. So
I bet you were on the receiving end of that a few times, Sean.
well, sometimes it was worth it. You do something, you go, yeah, okay. It was like it was like one of the questions that you had. I think it was Alan asked you for your 700 Q&A, was like, were you bullied or and it was like I did have at times, people that made fun of me, and usually the ones, they may have been bigger than me, but I would wait until the teacher's around and just lay into them. So we all stopped, they wouldn't get a chance to lay a hand on me.
Yeah, I
But
mean,
he
we
of a
still had it.
spanking deal.
We still had it when I was at school. I think it had been abolished in England probably by the 80s, but not in Bermuda. And Bermuda was like, a little bit behind, I suppose, in some things. I think if somebody from an English school in the 1930s went to my school, they wouldn't have seen much difference, to be honest. But yeah, the teachers still used corporal punishment against the children. In primary school, like the first 3 years, it was just like slaps or raps on the knuckles, or the favorite of the headmistress was the slap around the back of the leg, which was nice. But when we got to junior school, it was, the cane was still enforced, and you could be sent to the headmaster for a caning. Luckily, of course, I was never there because I was such a good boy, but, Surely, Amy, you weren't at school in the 2000s. Well, I suppose you were. Yeah. Oh, gosh. Okay.
Well, I remember going. There was one teacher that would, if a student said something bad, like bad words or anything like that, she would literally take hand soap and wash their mouths out with it. And she tried that on me one time, and I just said, "You lay one finger on me." And I sort of laid into her verbally and said what I would do. If she did, she just walked away. She didn't know what to do. Because there's no
You're
way.
brave. I couldn't think of anyone I was at school with would have ever said that back to a teacher, to be honest. No.
Well, you were, on the thing, because there's a good chance, because Amy's mom would take her to a book sale in the town that she grew up, and I'd been to that book sale, so there's a good chance we were in the same room together at the same book sale, but Amy was probably like 5 years old or something. It is scary. Oh yeah.
Well, I had a strange thing here actually, because there's like an older English couple live in the village that's attached to this town, and they invited me over. This was like 10 years ago for a barbecue, and they said some other people will be there, and there was this man there who I met for the first time, in here in the Czech Republic, in that village at that barbecue, but our lives had crossed paths before. He was a teacher at the school I went to in Bermuda, and probably I had seen him around, but the schools were divided between like junior school and senior school, and they were in separate buildings, and it was rare that you would cross over. So he was in the senior school when I was in the junior school, and it was weird because we'd crossed over there, and I think he arrived in Bermuda probably about 7 years, 6-7 years after I had already been living there, and then he stayed on like another 3 years after I'd left. But it was just strange to me, and especially now he's over 80. It really really brings home how long ago it was, and it's just so strange that first off, Bermuda is such a small place and unusual that you meet other people who've heard of it sometimes rather than actually lived there, and then to meet in a small village in Eastern Bohemia of the Czech Republic, it was very bizarre. Alexis, Mark, a slap around the back of the legs, which was nice. Say what? I'm worried about you, Mark. I meant that sarcastically, Alex. Slap around the back of the legs. It was nice. Not. But she was a bit mean, mistress in those days. So
I remember having, when I was on Twitter, a little more active. Well, I'm basically non-active now, but there was somebody that was interested in classic film. We were chatting back and forth from Toronto, and I lived in Toronto in the 80s, and it turned out that we'd been to the same concert, like several times, several different concerts. Like we sort of started comparing notes. Well, were you there? Yeah, they were there, but obviously we'd never, we could have even bumped into each other or stood side by side and never known. But it is weird how those things sort of happen, the connection.
Yeah, it's very true. It's very weird, Yeah, I mean, I've met people. I've met people like, for example, even in Japan, I would meet sometimes another Englishman who I think sometimes it's to do with like maybe the type of school you went to, narrows the world that you mix in or something like that. But I would sometimes meet people who maybe had a similar education to me and then would know the same people. It'd be like, oh, you end up at such and such university. Okay. Oh, you played rugby there, did you? Okay, great. Do you know so and so? Yeah, I do. Yeah, he was, and it's like I'm in Japan and I'm talking about somebody who now lives in New York with another guy who knows him from university, and it wasn't that rare an occurrence. It was quite funny, really.
One time that it was, I sort of felt bad because I didn't remember this person, and it was something that I could have, because it was only like maybe 3 or 4 years later. I got on the bus one time, and the bus driver, she said hello to me and used my name, and it was like, hello, and I'm sort of confused. And then she said, you obviously don't remember me. And I said, no, sorry, I don't. And it turned out that she had started working at a place that I did before, and I was the only. So according to her, I was the only person that had helped her, to learn the job and stuff like that. Everybody else sort of ignored her, and I didn't remember her. So I really felt bad about that.
Well, it could have been worse, Sean. I mean, she could have said, "You don't remember me," and you're like, "No." Oh, we spent a night together back in. Yes. Moving
That's
on.
more likely.
Moving on. Yeah, no, it's funny. It's really funny. Oh, okay. So Sonia has finished Jar of Hearts. Wonderful, wonderful. Yeah, I haven't yet, but I'm almost finished. It's pretty good. I mean, it's not the world's greatest piece of literature, but it's a bit of fun. So.
One thing that's getting to in gear is I've got the one book, the what is it, Gods of River, or what's it called?
Children's books, is this or?
No, the other one. There's the sort of newer book, newer publication. The one about Burton and Speke.
River of the Gods or something, isn't it?
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, I just can't think of it at the moment, but that's all set. But the Second Childhood Book Quest, I'm just waiting on, because to get a few more books, and then people will. I'll put up a community. I'll do a video actually showing the books, and then do a community post for choosing which one is the first one. I'll just read them in order, and they're all pretty. I got one today. Really weird. Well, I'll show it because it's weird to me, because on the internet it says that it was written in 1973.
That's weird. Yeah, it's far too modern for you.
Yeah, but the thing is, this is the British edition, and it says text copyright 1990, but it's actually 1973. But it's a UK publication, so did they purposely not put the original date in so somebody could say, "Oh, that's too old. I don't want to read that for my kids or give that to my kids"? I kind of wonder, because normally.
Is there a big difference these days for kids if they see 1990 or 1973?
Well, everybody else puts the dates of the original publication. Every other publisher that I know. Once accidentally sat down at the same table at a conference with a woman I'd gone on a date with the year previous. I didn't recognize her for several minutes. Ooh.
Awkward.
Yeah.
Awkward, Amy. I'm guessing, obviously, it hadn't worked out, had it? Dear, oh dear. That is bad.
A Royal Night Out recommended a movie called You read it, Mark. Good
I
one.
recommend a movie called A Royal Night Out. It really puts things clear about the choices or not that Queen Elizabeth had in her life, but it captures a moment in time. I feel, Alexis, you're a little bit of a monarchist. I've noticed with your comments and things recently. Or am I wrong? I don't know, Alexis. I mean, yeah, I'm open-minded. I mean, I'm not a huge royalist, so I don't have a natural inclination to to watch anything really with regards to Queen Elizabeth. So if you recommend it as good, I'll give it a go. But otherwise, I wouldn't maybe have checked it out. I prefer my royals like Charles I, for example, which I'm reading about at the moment. Yeah, so you should be, Gerald. Jesus, what time do you call this?
Popcorn is going to be cold.
Yeah. The night that Germany surrendered and England won the war. Oh, and what happens to Princess Margaret is absolutely hysterical. Okay, well, where is it? I mean, I prefer not to have to buy it though. Is it available on YouTube? Or other nefarious streaming services?
Nefarious.
So, Gerald, are you going to give us your excuse, or is it too private? Oh dear, oh dear.
Yeah, I've got to get. I just when you were saying, I got to get caught up on Big Sleep.
Seems like you've done more than enough catching up on the Big Sleep recently, Sean.
Well, if I could actually sleep, that would be a good thing. Just snoozing and resting is about all I can do.
All right, Alexis, I'll give it a go.
Just for fun.
Yeah, it's free all over and worth a watch just for fun. A Royal Night Out. Sounds like one of those royal family specials, the comedy show.
Well, I was going to say that. I was thinking maybe
I have to step away. Maybe I'll drop by again later. If you're still streaming, nice to see you.
Thanks, Amy. She's doing her shelf tour tomorrow, live, and our continuing shelf tour.
Oh, that would be good.
The big hibernation is coming in December. Yeah. It would be nice if I could. That's the thing with this bloody long COVID. I don't actually get the sleep properly. I just doze, and I need X amount of hours. But this past like 5 or 6 days, I've needed a lot more, or I'm not getting the quality of dozing that I normally did.
Sean, when you look at the screen, are you looking at me, or are you looking at yourself, or are you looking just over the comments?
Well, I'm looking at the moment. I'm looking at you. Then now I'm looking at the comments, and then now I'm looking at myself.
See, I have to say, I must be very narcissistic. I spend most of the time looking at me. I don't know. I think that's normal. I'm always looking to make sure I haven't got anything hanging from my nose, or I haven't got half my dinner down my chin or something, and just I'm thinking, how handsome I look today, that kind of stuff. You don't get distracted by your own looks?
Me? No.
Yeah. No? All right.
I look at myself when I'm recording videos to myself, but that's it. Elvis in the background.
Elvis says hi, Gerald. How cold does it get in England in winter? Does it even snow there? Well, I've been away too long. I couldn't possibly answer. Sean?
To me, it never gets cold. I've been in this flat/room for, I think, coming up 6 years, and I've never had the heat on. I've always had the window open, and it barely gets below zero outside. So, yeah, I don't think it gets cold here. But you ask an English person, it gets into single digits, and they'll be thinking it's Antarctic temperatures. So I'm not the one to ask whether it's cold or not.
I'm probably not one to ask either, really. I mean, yeah, I think it's a different cold, though. I mean, there's that in England, you get that damp, wet cold that gets into your bones after a while, and it's not very nice.
Well, that's why it's not cold, because it needs to be cold. Like if it goes to 10 below and stays 10 below, it's nice because all the moisture's frozen out of the air. It's not damp anymore, and it's a dry cold, and it feels so much better at 10 or 15 below than it does at 5 above or 3 above and raining.
I mean, I have to say I'm a little bit surprised how much colder I feel. I know it's going to sound strange, like almost like a joke, having lost some weight, because my colleagues were laughing at me because I'm wearing like not a coat, but like a jacket in the mornings. Yeah. I'm feeling it cold. Whereas seriously, last year at this time, I'd be out in shirt sleeves, walking Elvis. I didn't feel it. So I don't know whether I'm just coming, my blood's thinning or whatever, but I just feel much colder. I'm sitting here now thinking it's a bit chilly, and it's raining, and it's been raining all day. And I think, what is it? 12 degrees. But I'm thinking, yeah, it's a bit chilly. Yes, Gerald, it does, and it snows quite a lot where I live and where I will be living in the future, which is in the mountains. So it will be quite snowy for sure.
Well, like the thing is, like about the weight thing, I don't know if that's really. Well, I don't know. Maybe to English people because like they're used to or certain weather types, but friends that I know that are Canadian that that you could hold them up to a bright light. They don't need X-rays, and they find it. They don't find it cold here either. So,
well, I never found it particularly cold in England, but when I compare it to Sweden, Hokkaido, and now the Czech Republic, it isn't that cold in England. But
you probably sustained below zero temperatures or below freezing.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, yeah, and Hokkaido was probably one of the hardest ones. Yeah, I mean, it was bloody cold, because you get a lot of Siberian winters. Yeah, I think the lowest recorded temperature in Asahikawa, which is like the second city, was something like, I don't know, minus 37 degrees Celsius, something like that.
Well, what's that Russian city that's minus 70 most of the time?
Well, how would you like to come in? You can if you want, Steve. We'd be very, very happy to have you if you're free. Like, we're waiting for him to reply, aren't we? But that could take a while. Probably like that. Yeah, maybe Alexis. Maybe I don't know, but it's
Yeah, how would you like to be 70 below in that place in Russia? That town, 70 below.
Well, yeah, but I'm living in a small country in Europe. I mean, it's not like the backward or beyond. I'm not like I'm living in Canada in the mountains somewhere. For example, it's 15 minutes from the center of the town I live in now, and the bus is fairly good. So, well, Steve, I'm going to send you the link anyway. and forward you the link.
And I can delete him as soon as he shows up.
You can delete him. No, come on. It'd be nice. I haven't seen Steve for a while. I haven't actually watched a huge amount. I said at the beginning I'd watched like a couple of things, but I haven't watched anything like the amount of YouTube I watched, of course, in the summer. But I suppose that's not surprising, you know. But what was I going to say?
It's It's Tango. That's what I'm drinking. I had some groceries the other day. I am actually rather thirsty today. Oh, favorite. Do you mean science fiction movies?
Oh, here we go. Steve, you should know better. I don't know.
I always there aren't that many that are really, really good science fiction films. There really isn't. There's ones I like, but it's
okay. I'm gonna go with something. There's probably others. I just can't think of them. And I'm gonna go. And time travel counts as science fiction. Yeah, it doesn't have to have like space and aliens in it. Yeah. And like maybe one of you watching will be able to help me because I can't remember the title. So, Steve, my favorite is it's not that old. It's something like somebody need apply or don't need to apply, and it's got that girl from Parks and Recreation, that Aubrey Plaza, is it in it? And it wasn't something I thought I would like, but I thoroughly enjoyed it. Anybody know what it is? I can Google it, I suppose.
Harold, yeah, because if I would say that the original Day the Earth Stood Still, Things to Come, Forbidden Planet, even Alien was a fun film.
Alien was all right. Aliens, the second one. Yeah, that I probably actually preferred that to the first one.
Oh, I hated that one because it was like it was so calculated. Oh, okay, jump scare. Yep, there it is. Jump scare. Yep, there it is. It was so predictable.
So if anyone's interested, the film I'm thinking of is 2012, and it's called Safety Not Guaranteed. I enjoyed it very much.
Never heard of it.
It's about a man who puts an advert in the local paper or something saying he's going to take a time trip and if anyone wants to join him. And of course, it seems like he's a nutter. And it's just fun. It's just nice, nice how it kind of comes together and stuff. And then you have to kind of really wait till the end to see if he is insane or whether or not he can really, go in time.
I just found it so predictable. The second Aliens film. First one I liked.
Steve, I think you just have to jump on here and argue with Sean face to face. You've got the link.
Which Day of the Triffids? The original 60s one, which is a little strange, or there was a few TV series, the 80s TV series I liked, the BBC one, but I didn't like the 60s.
What?
Film.
Sorry?
What?
You didn't like something from the 60s, but you preferred something from the 80s?
Yes.
Oh my God. I hope people have recorded that.
These stereotypes do not work.
I don't know. It would be faster to just come on and say that, Steve, rather than type it out. It would make it more interesting if it randomly turned into an onion flavor in the final few bites. Nicer would be if an onion turned into like a mint flavor in the final few bites, so you could get away with, get rid of the onion breath.
Going back to Day the Earth Stood Still, a friend of mine went to see the newer one with Keanu Reeves in the cinema in Canada, and he came out and people were talking about how great it was and how original it was. And he sort of dropped the bomb that it was a remake, and they couldn't believe it. They had no idea.
I haven't seen any of them, I think so. But I'm not. People know I'm not a big science fiction person, even when it comes to films. I do enjoy something that I won't mention because I don't want Sean to run away. But yeah,
no, it's just I don't think science fiction has been really well done on TV or film. There's times that they have there's good things that have been done for
like
TV.
Star Wars, yeah.
No, that's sci-fi.
I thought you were going to kick me out then when you moved forward, and I said, that's it. He's out of it.
Yeah, them like all those 50s. Hi, Micah. All those 50s stuff. I enjoy those. I really enjoy those. They're fun to watch. I have not seen the recent one. I'm going to be doing that at some point as a book to film, but I'll be looking at the original one and the new one with what's his? I can't think of his name now.
It's in the next
George
comment.
Clooney, yeah, George Clooney.
Ah, Gareth. Yes, I enjoyed that. That's saying something.
District. No, I don't think I've seen that one. So
it's a South African science fiction film.
It's yeah,
an alien in a township. Yeah, it's good.
You'll get a better chance, I think, of a better science fiction movie as something like that rather than Hollywood blockbuster type things.
I don't know. I do like The Fifth Element though.
Yeah, that was fun. It
is good fun. That's it. And sometimes
like the Blade Runner film, the original was good. I enjoyed that. Yeah, see, Steve throws in the hand grenade and then runs.
Guessing Gerald's talking about District 9, maybe?
Or
Fifth Element. But no, I can watch that a few times. It is fun, definitely. District 9, yeah.
Yes. Batty says that, or is it Batty? Yeah. And Blade Runner.
Never seen it.
It's a lot better than the book, that's for sure. And I like both versions. The sort of film noir version where Deckard is narrating through it, and then I like the non one. They're both different films.
Total Recall. That's a good science fiction film.
Not really.
Yeah, I was thinking about Jeff Goldblum's Fly.
Yeah, a live chat. Somewhat live. I'm alive.
I suppose, yeah.
Oh, I've not actually watched that yet. I haven't read the story. I've got the film, and I'll be reading the story and watching the film at some point.
Gareth likes that one then as well.
Arrival, yeah.
I don't know.
I've not read anything by the author either, and I've been hearing so much, and that I do want to try him. I just haven't bitten the bullet yet to do that.
Yeah, I always liked Rutger Hauer, so probably I should watch it. I don't know. I've always had a problem with films that are dark, and I mean visually dark. It bothers me. The author is Ted Chiang.
From The Arrival, yeah.
Is that the one? Is that what Scott Danielson talked about when we had the live? I know he talked about Ted Chiang, but was it The Arrival he was talking about, or?
I think we did talk about that briefly, yeah.
Yeah.
Because I heard a lot about it, and then the more I heard about Ted Chiang as an author, I go, oh, that does sound like he's somebody that I could like and knew.
To be honest, John, not a huge fan. No, I always preferred Superman, but Batman, I didn't mind. I guess the first Michael Keaton film, I suppose, when I was a kid, and then I didn't mind the first
Buster Keaton? What?
Christian Bale one. What?
You said Buster Keaton?
No, I said Michael Keaton, didn't I?
Okay, sorry. I heard Buster Keaton, and I'm going.
Well, okay, the first Buster Keaton Batman, and
Well, he did. There are pictures of him dressed up as Superman. So yeah.
Oh well, there you go.
Yeah, no, yeah, that's the kind of thing, Gareth, is from those where I had a little more in-depth conversation with yourself and Scott Danielson, and I think a few others as well, and it really made me realize I do want to read him.
That's where I first heard of him, was in Gareth's Desert Island books. So
I like Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, and there was one good thing about the film: Zoe Deschanel. Well, yeah, he would have made an interesting Bruce Wayne, definitely.
who would have been a good silent film Joker? There is one, isn't there? The guy who actually was the inspiration for the Joker. Who was it?
Yeah, that's I can't think of his name. My brain is gone, but it's from The Man Who Laughs.
Yeah.
I can't think of his name now, but he's a prolific actor.
Wasn't Lorne Chaney again, was it?
No, it wasn't. No, I can't think of his name off the top of my head. I know it like the back of my hand, but I can't see the back of my hand at the moment. Conrad Veidt, yes. Thank you.
So you could have Buster Keaton as Bruce Wayne and Batman with Conrad Veidt as the Joker.
But the Batman was based on The Bat, which was a silent film. There was that's sort of where and shades of Batman came from.
You can't see him? Well, he was in the background, but he's there. There you go.
He's looking at the screen and then looking at you.
Yeah.
Yeah, the BBC Hitchhikers, I really like it. It's really good. But the first iteration of it is the radio series. Then he wrote the books, and then I think, or maybe the TV show was first before the books. Harold Lloyd is Mr. Freeze, yeah.
And would Louise Brooks work as Catwoman?
She'd
Poison Ivy.
Mr. Freeze.
They had radio series of Batman.
Oh, there was, yeah, there was radio series. There was an original. I think sure there was a Batman serial as well. There was several Superman serials. Oh, with you, what was the first ever movie? Not horror, but sci. Ooh, that's hard to say because there's like a 1914 Frankenstein, but it's very short. And then there's the Méliès stuff, which is almost fantasy stuff. I guess it would be The Trip to the Moon would be one of the very first ones by Georges Méliès. And it was hand colored. 1903, I think. Yeah, Gareth saying Méliès, yeah.
Has anyone seen that film Hugo, which is kind of about Georges Méliès?
I haven't. I've heard it's supposed to be good.
It is good. I watched it.
Yeah.
I watched it, I think, back on maybe last Christmas. It was on Netflix or something, and I actually really enjoyed it. It has Ben Kingsley as Georges Méliès, and then a few other people. It's actually got Sacha Baron Cohen, you know, Ali G or whatever. He's like the station master, yeah, because there's this orphan boy lives.
Who's that?
Station. You don't know Ali G or
No.
Yeah, it was a lovely film, wasn't it, Gareth? Yeah, and Micah, yeah, good taste. Yeah, I because you know I thought it's a kids' film, and I don't have kids, but I'm going to watch it anyway. So there.
Oh, is it? I didn't know it was a kids' film.
I mean, I think it works on different levels. As I said, I wasn't at all bored. I mean, the main actors are kids, you know, because there's a boy lives in the station, and he's got this old. His father died. He's got this old automaton that his dad left him, but it's actually originally owned by Méliès. And then, yeah, it was good. But this Borat, yeah, Gareth's right. It's the same guy who plays Borat. If you've ever seen that.
No.
Is
it a Spielberg film?
No, he's the son. No, it's not Spielberg. It's Scorsese, I think. I think it's Martin Scorsese, bizarrely. I'm going to have to look it up.
I've heard of the Borat, I think, or something like that.
Yeah,
but
it is Martin Scorsese.
Oh, is it? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't know it was a kids' film. I didn't know it was a kids' film.
Well, I don't know. Maybe it's not a kids' film. I mean, but you know, the two main actors are kids, so I just assumed it's a kids' film. But it's got, you know, Christopher Lee's in it, Jude Law, Ben Kingsley.
Generally speaking, I don't think there's many movies out today that are worth seeing, to be honest. But there's lots of old ones to watch.
Yeah. Well, I agree with that. I don't watch a lot, but sometimes I take a punt, and in the case of Hugo, I think it was worth it. I would watch it again, actually.
Oh yeah, well, like I say, there's definitely going to be some that are worthwhile. But I watched, I think it was last year. It was a trailer. It was like 40 minutes long, and it was all films that were coming out, and at least half of them, if not more, were either Marvel or DC stuff, and that was it. And everything else almost seemed like derivatives of it.
I welcomed a bunch of new students to the college recently. Random students, no specific in a tutor session, and none of them had heard of Spielberg. Sorry, I keep saying Spielberg because that's how we have a castle called Spielberg Castle here in the Czech Republic, right? So it's like rolls off my tongue now. Spielberg, 16-year-olds. Yeah, well, it doesn't surprise me. Actually.
Well, yeah, they have good sense to not know who he is.
Come on, he must have done something good for you, no? Schindler's List.
Not really. I have so many problems with that film, but because he's it's typical thing. He's purposely making it trying to tug at your heartstrings and stuff like that. He does things, and it's so obvious. Yeah, I don't know. I just don't think he's a very good filmmaker. Less said, the better.
Jaws.
Oh no,
Indiana Jones.
that was fun, but that's as
It
far as
was
it goes.
fun, and it inspired you to become an archaeologist.
Oh no, definitely. It inspired a lot of people that I went to school with. They went because of that, but then they soon disappeared. But then again, Gareth, I think a lot of people don't have a clue who directors are. All they look at is generally the stars.
The father is somebody as well. Isn't he the father, Simon Baron Cohen, not the brother? Maybe I'm wrong. I'm sure the father was someone well known in psychology, but yeah, I don't know. But I mean, there's some directors you just know, aren't there? I mean, you know Spielberg, you know Scorsese, you know his brother, is it? I don't know why. Maybe it's the uncle. There's somebody else famous.
Well, I do like the Coen brothers. So is that the Excuse me, everybody. I'm just trying to get a deep breath, which is not easy at times.
No, Simon is his cousin, not his brother. But I'm sure there was somebody more senior.
What are they all a factor? A
Well,
family of
Aaron.
actors?
There's Aaron Boaz Baron Cohen, who is Sacha Baron Cohen's brother. Simon is cousin, but I'm sure maybe Simon's father is. Maybe Simon's father is somebody. I don't know. But it doesn't matter.
Was it an actor's family?
Yeah, it's the guy in one of the guys in Hugo, the guy who plays Borat, which you haven't seen. But I was watching. What was I watching? I have this habit when I have dinner or something to watch an episode of Law and Order. I like it, right? And I think the medical examiner in it was called Borat. I was surprised. I said, "So Borat, what time do you make the time of death?" And of course, this was like from season 6, so it's like 1993 or 94 or something like that. So it's before the comedy program with the. Yeah, I really don't remember, Gerald. But as I say, I think Gerald Baron Cohen. Yeah, he was an editor turned clothing store owner.
Going from editor to a clothing store?
Well, why not? But yeah, I don't know.
Yeah,
you probably recognize him if you see him anyway. So
yeah. Well, that's what some of them are. And there was one time I was doing something. It was during work, and sort of all the systems went down, so we were just sort of on whatever this message thing is, I can't remember what it was called, but anyway, it was a thing that we were all sort of connected with, and so that we're talking about, and all these actresses and stuff like that. And it's like they show the picture, like saying, who this was, and it's like never heard of any of them, never seen any of them, and it was like it was just like no idea who these people are.
Well, you have to kind of get up on your pop culture.
I am, but the pop culture is 50 years old.
Oh dear, dear, dear.
Or older. The older it is, the more I know.
So you're up on like BC pop culture.
Well, probably better than current. Like I'm forced to hear things of a Tolkien series on Amazon, which I don't care about and I don't want to know about, but I'm forced to hear about it.
I'm enjoying it. I'm going to put that out there. I'm enjoying it. So, but I haven't read it, as we all know. Neither of us have read Lord of the Rings, so it could be a pile of garbage if I'd read it, but I haven't. So I'm actually quite enjoying it. So.
Yeah, it's one of those things because, like you mentioned, Law and Order. I like watching those. I like watching those types of shows, but I don't read the kind of material. Like I never did with the crime fiction either until a few years ago. I started 5 to 8 years ago. I started reading the stuff, but I used to always watch uh, Miss Marple and Poirot and all that. The only ones that I ever read were Sherlock Holmes, basically.
Actually, you gave yourself away earlier. I've just thought of it. It's delayed reaction, but you did mention at least one young lady that is fairly well known today.
Yeah, but she's not like a teeny bopper anymore.
Well, no, true. Which movie do you put the blame on for the shift of Hollywood movies to how dumbed down they are now? Jaws. Sorry.
I have no idea. I don't think it's one film. I think it's just a pattern that's happened.
Yeah, but why spoil it? I mean, at the moment, it will just be a fantastic surprise at how good, obviously, Lord of the Rings is. Whereas I can enjoy this in ignorance, thinking this is actually quite good. But we're reading. I don't know. Are we reading? I forget. Are we reading The Hobbit at Christmas, or are we reading Lord of the Rings? And are we reading The Hobbit first, or?
Yeah, that's what the plan was, I thought.
I don't know.
But that's short, so shouldn't be too difficult.
Yeah.
It was written for 8-year-olds anyway, or younger.
Yeah, so. But 8-year-olds in the 1930s were far more intelligent than adults even are today, right? So.
Well, I said somebody was saying to me that something was for 8 to 10-year-olds, like 40 years ago. So I said, oh, well, that's for 35-year-olds now. They were not too pleased at my remark.
It's a good endorsement, Gareth. Hobbit is a lovely book.
Yeah, I think that's the formula of films today, rather than somebody actually. That's where I say with science fiction, it would take something like, a small production in South Africa that could probably be a better science fiction film than Hollywood can make, because all Hollywood make would be blockbuster and just go for the glitz.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong, and I probably am, but films from Hollywood, for example, they are longer now, aren't they? Generally. I mean, I'm sure when I was a kid, I know if you watch some old epics like Gone with the Wind or whatever, they're long films. But it seems to me almost every film now is around 2 hours. When I'm sure when I was growing up, films from the 80s tended to be around the 90-minute mark generally.
Yeah, well, that's like there were films like we were talking about Charlie Chan stuff. That kind of stuff were all
About an
like,
hour.
60 minutes, yeah, to 70 minutes at the most. And then a long film was like an hour and a half to an hour and 45 minutes, and occasionally over 2 hours, but not many, I don't
But
think.
these epics and things, they are like literally 2-3 hours long now. And the reason I'm mentioning this is because I'm thinking back to when we were talking about how young people don't have the attention span to read things. They need to read things in short, punchy parts. Yet they can sit there and watch something for 3 hours.
Yeah, because how long were the Lord of the Rings sections?
They're pretty long. They're like 2.5 hours each. And probably if I don't know if there's some director's cut, they might even be more. And I can't even remember now if they made 2 or 3 Hobbit films, and yet that's a short book.
Well, that's why I was surprised that one book you held up there was so short, and I was surprised that they were able to get a full movie out of that.
Yeah, I don't know how long it is actually. Oh yeah, there's people here. I wonder if anyone's. Wow, no, it's a different topic. Probably no one cares about
What?
checkbooks. No, I was going to ask because there's more people here if anyone else has read it, but of course I doubt anyone really cares. It's not like it's fantasy or something sci-fi, so just some check.
There's people watching longer films. They would binge watch a TV show for 8 hours. Yeah. But these long Hollywood blockbusters tend to be more like a roller coaster that you experience than something you engage. Yeah, I think that's true.
I get bored. I do.
I like good special effects, but I want a story. It's like, I don't know. They sacrifice story for glitz and glamour all the time, and for the special effects, and that's why I like going for science fiction. That's why I always say Babylon 5. Yeah, like the acting at times is shaky, the special effects are shaky, but you can't beat the overall storyline. That is the closest to actual real science fiction that's ever been on TV, bar none. There's nothing else that's ever come close to it for really good science fiction. But there are problems with it. There are episodes of Star Trek that are really good, but simple, just one episode here and there, and they're rare.
It's 1966, Sean, and it's 92 minutes long, the film. So it's 98 pages long, the book. So there you go.
Sorry, how long was the film again?
The film's 92 minutes, and the book is 98 pages. I think it was an Oscar winner there, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, I'm not mistaken. It won Best Foreign Language Oscar in 1968.
Yeah, that's true, Gareth. That yeah. And well, the thing is, you have to, like, if for a film to make it, it has to be like it has to be popular. Otherwise, that director won't continue making films. But that's where I think there is a tightrope, a knife edge of where you can go one way or the other at times. But most of the time, if they just want popular, they just go popular. But the ones that are really good sort of straddle that line and dip into some really good stuff. And then when they do the good stuff, that film never made it big, and that director may never have continued, or it was just a one-off. Like some directors would make one thing, they would make deals to say they'll make 5 films, but one of those films will be of my choosing, and I make it my way, and I'll do all the rest your way. And that's sometimes what happened. And a lot of times that one film they made for themselves was the best. Yeah, no, yeah. I don't see how you can get bored watching Lawrence of Arabia, in all its glory.
Waterloo, Sean. Now that's a film that's just well done.
Which version? Which one?
Which one? Dino De Laurentiis one, the 1970, is it? Rod Steiger and Christopher Plummer.
I've seen it. I don't remember it, to be honest. I can't.
Well, I often watch clips from it, from time to time, and I love the comments in it because there's, it's before CGI and all this, and they used, I think, about 15,000 extras from the Ukrainian branch of the Soviet Red Army. So they had all the horsemen, everything you see is real people, and it's like watching, for me, it's like what you remember those old Victorian paintings, like you see it, Lady Butler or whatever, like you see paintings of the Zulu Wars, and the whole film just looks like one of these paintings to me that's just live and, brilliant film. I don't know if anyone else has seen it, but Waterloo, brilliant. Very long as well.
Yeah, I've seen it, but it's so long ago that I don't quite remember it. It didn't make a huge impression on me at the time for whatever reason. And I probably watched it on TV, a small 9-inch, could have been a black and white TV. So
I'd be very surprised if you actually didn't like it if you watched it again. Well, John, it's on, not great quality, but it is actually on YouTube. So, and it's been there for years. I don't think anyone really cares anymore. But, it had, as I said, Rod Steiger's Napoleon, what's his name? Christopher Plummer's the Duke of Wellington, and a few other well-known people in it. It's great fun.
Well, that was a good film too. Jason and the Argonauts. What's his name?
Color Sergeant Vaughan.
Ray Harryhausen, special effects.
It's the one with Nigel Green, isn't it?
Nigel Green?
Yeah.
I don't know. It's probably 30 years since I've seen it, but I don't remember Nigel Green. But maybe, I don't know. I don't remember any of the actors.
Nigel Green's Color Sergeant Vaughan from Zulu.
Oh, he might have been in there. Yeah, I don't remember. I don't remember the actors' names in it. All I remember is I enjoyed it. I really enjoy it.
I think he's in it. Yeah.
I don't know if he's a Marvel superhero. Yeah, the skeletons are really cool in that. But yeah, they, obviously today, like I've seen people, like you look at the Amazon reviews and people talking about, oh, how come this isn't in widescreen? You think they can do it properly and make it widescreen now? And it's like, well, it's a 35 millimeter film. Or why is it in black and white? It should be color. And why are the effects so bad? They can do better with computers.
I don't know, John. It's an interesting one there. It doesn't deserve, in my opinion, to be out of favor because it's quite a balanced film. Surprisingly,
it's an anti-war film. It's an
anti-war film, and it doesn't. I think it praises both sides and criticizes both sides quite equally, and it's something new for the time. I mean, it was very much appreciated by the Zulus themselves, I suppose, also because at the time there was apartheid, and they weren't allowed to. I want to say I saw it in the commentary for the DVD. I think they weren't even allowed to pay the Zulus for it. They could only give them something in return. So they built the sets like as real buildings and all this kind of stuff, and they gifted it to them. All the cattle and stuff you see as well were gifts from the film company to the people who took part in it. But yeah, I mean, it's pretty balanced, isn't it, Sean?
Yeah,
It's quite fair.
it's clear, like to me, it's abundantly clear that it's an anti-war film, because when was it made? At the height of Vietnam War. That's what it's doing. Like, these things are not made in isolation. It's an anti-war film.
I mean, he says it a few times, doesn't he? You have Surgeon Reynolds in the film going, "Damn you, Chard! Damn all you butchers!" And then you have, "Is this how it feels for everyone? You think I could stand this butcher's yard more than once?" And all this kind of. Yeah, I have watched it far too many times. But
Well, yeah. Well, there's the thing where Michael Caine asks him, what's the reason sort of for all this, and he goes, "Oh, because we're here, me lad. Because we're here." And that's works on so many levels. It's because the British are in South Africa. That's why it's happening. But also, they're there at that point. What are you going to do? Allow yourself to be slaughtered, killed, to save others, or do you defend your own life? That's because they're there. It works on so many levels.
because we're here, lad, and nobody else, just us.
But it's also, it also is it's because they're in the country. The British are there. The whites are there. That's the reason for all this. Yeah, I suppose so with Jason. Yeah, I just don't know if everybody had. See, I don't think of those as superpowers. I guess I don't know in that way. But that deserves another watch, actually.
Well, the Argonauts and Zulu.
Zulu. I guess you've seen Zulu Dawn as well.
Which I hated when I was a kid and I watched it immediately after. I appreciate it much more now. I still think it's not as good.
No, it's not near as good, but it's the array of actors in it are great as well.
The array of actors, and some of them are really good in it. Like Bob Hoskins is excellent in it. He's excellent in it.
Yeah. Well, even as what is it? Lord, what's his name? Peter O'Toole. Chelmsford, yeah.
Peter O'Toole.
Yeah, I think he did quite well for him, and just earlier Denham Elliott too, playing. Yeah, he was. Just so it was so good, and it's like even Burt Lancaster. It's just like it wasn't actually accurate what the order of events, but it worked for the film.
And he's a funny one, isn't he, old Simon Ward? Because he was like massive in like some part of the 70s and then vanishes. Like, you can't turn on a historical film from the 70s, English film, without seeing him and that David Hemmings. And then they just kind of like disappeared, really, didn't they?
But yeah,
Zulu Dawn, I mean, it had its, I think it was, in some ways, the Zulu part of Zulu Dawn was maybe actually a little bit better because it seemed darker or grittier or something. You know what I mean? Like when they show the Zulu corral and stuff, it seemed less film set, maybe.
Yeah.
And obviously the sheer numbers of them and that, and actually, who's very good in it, although he doesn't last too long, is Peter Vaughan, the commissary. You've got your own stuff. Go get it. But
they put too much emphasis on the bureaucracy of getting the bullets too, because the excavations don't really show that, but that wasn't known until long after the film. was made, and what's his name's diary too, that was found and hidden.
William,
Um,
Dahom Elliott.
yeah, I think because it showed Chelmsford. He botched it all. Chelmsford botched it all, but the government tried to still turn him into a hero, and he
Yeah.
rushed to get to the finish before what's his name came. He was there to take over, and he wanted to end it, and so he ended it on sort of being a hero, the war. But that's not in that film. But later, Chelmsford just was.
One of the things that always kind of blew my mind, because I was always very interested in the First World War as well. And there was a First World War general called Sir Horace Smith Dorrien. And he was at Isan Luana. And he survived. And to me, it's just an amazing thing to think of that, a young officer at Isan Luana, obviously not many of them at all survived, goes on to be still there as a general in the First World War.
Wow.
So, yeah, it was, yeah.
Yeah. And then this John is saying Simon Ward was badly injured in an attack, 1980s. Oh. Okay, that would end your career as an actor, I suppose.
And did you ever watch the Shaka Zulu miniseries in the 80s?
I've only seen bits of it. I never watched it all.
Brilliant. And it's on YouTube as well, actually.
Yeah, Denham Elliott was to me a wholly underrated actor. So many great films, right back to Holly and the Ivy, Christmas film that's amazing, and a movie that it was almost as if he was slumming for, was Trading Places, but he just was so good as the butler. He was just like it's just he just put everybody else to shame.
I liked him in, and it was pretty crappy, I suppose, but I remember being quite all right as a kid. I don't think I've watched now. It was a miniseries, Australian miniseries that starred Nicole Kidman, I think, of all people, and it was called Bangkok Hilton.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
He was in that as well. He was like, I can't remember if he was her father or her father's friend when she was locked up in in the prison in Bangkok. Yeah, but he's good in that. Isn't he in? He's in King Rat as well, isn't he? The film King Rat.
I think so. Yeah, it's a long time since. Signalman. Get that out correctly. Yeah, that's the from the Dickens story. I think it is Dickens. Yeah, sure. No, he's just somebody that just never seems to. I don't know what the reason was. It's like another one is David Niven, that we were talking before. It just never got the recognition I don't think they deserved.
I was thinking about the other day. Who was it? Donald Pleasance. I don't know why. I was just looking at, and again, somebody who was in quite big films and then ended up in really crappy B films of the 80s.
Well, it was because he couldn't act.
Donald Pleasance, he was all right. Come on.
I didn't think he was that good, but yeah, he did the crap that he was doing in the 80s. Was
horror films, wasn't it?
Yeah. It's just that was beneath him. Even though I didn't think he was a great actor, but that was definitely beneath him.
The best Blofeld, according to John, yeah, probably. It's For Your Eyes Only again, I think. He's Blofeld in that, I think, isn't he?
Who, Denham Elliott?
No, Donald Pleasance.
Oh. Don't remember.
I don't think David Niven is so underrated, though. I mean, he was in some big films.
Yeah, but he just doesn't. It's like he never gets the name there. I guess it was You Only Live Twice. Oh, but he just doesn't. It's like there's like when you go for film actresses in the 30s and 40s, and it's just like the big names to me are not the ones that were the best actresses. It's they definitely were not, and there were other ones that were, I think, much better, and the same as a lot of the actors. And it just David Niven never had his name up there with those for some reason. Like Rod Steiger is another fabulous actor, but he he's done a lot of good stuff, but still not sort of up there when if anybody knows names from that period, they don't think of him.
No, which is a shame, because I was watching the whole that famous scene from The Heat of the Night the other day, with when he goes, "They call me Mr. Tibbs," and I was just thinking, like, he was phenomenal. And then going back also even to Waterloo, he is great as Napoleon, really good. He's very intense actor, very
well. He does so many different things. It's like the pawnbroker, it just you just look at everything he's done is he just gets into those roles. There's one though that somebody was saying, that I've got the film here and I haven't watched it yet. It's the it's a Western that they said he's not very good in it, which I'm curious to actually watch it to see, because that would be the first film that I would have seen of him that he's not very good. And I can't think of the name of it off the top of my head. I can't see it here.
But but I mean, there were a lot of actors in that era who just couldn't act. I mean, no one could really say that what's his name, John Wayne, was an actor, really. I mean, he was pretty much the same in every single film he was in.
Yeah, he got competent. Let's put it that way. He was competent in certain roles, and that he was the
roles were all the same roles, pretty much.
Sometimes, yeah, but then he worked for those roles. But yeah, no, he wasn't a great actor in any shape or form. Like Henry Fonda, I think, was a better actor. James Stewart, much better actor in the westerns.
Again, I don't know. I always thought. I mean, I quite like James Stewart, but I don't know. He's kind of always the same as well. Like, the voice never changes, and he's got such a distinctive. I don't know.
But sometimes that's good.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, it's weird for me that I'm living in a country where they dub all their films and their TV, so it means that certain people have never heard the real actor's voice. Yeah, and it becomes a complete shock when they hear, take The Simpsons, for example. Everyone here knows The Simpsons, and they watch The Simpsons. It's still quite popular. But when you play the real Simpsons voices, they're like, what? Well, Kirk Douglas could be good. I mean, he's very good in that Kubrick one. Paths of Glory? No. What is it? I mean, Tony Curtis was somebody who was useless.
But okay in some things. Like Some Like It Hot. That is really good with Jack Lemmon.
Yeah, but there's no acting required in that.
Well, that's true. But it's the two films that I can stomach. What's her name in? Marilyn Monroe. Two films that I can stomach. That's one, and the other one is Asphalt Jungle. But yeah, Rio Grande and True Grit are really good films. Oh, Robert Duvall, yeah. Robert Duvall is really, really good. Lucky Ned Pepper in yeah. But then I was so blown away with in the new film, the guy who played Lucky Ned Pepper, and he was only on the screen for a few minutes, and I go, wow, this guy was actually really good. And it just, there was something about his presence that shone everything else, but nobody else on there. Like, I like Jeff Bridges, but I don't know. It just didn't really work for me for some reason. I don't know why.
Mm-hmm. Well, I don't know. Maybe I don't know how you're feeling, Sean. If you're feeling a bit puffed out, if it's time to wrap up, should we ask for some last questions? Or
Yeah, there's quite a few people still. There's 20 some here, but yeah. Any other questions? We strayed into films for some reason. That's Steve's fault, I think.
yeah, he's like a live stream saboteur. Pops in, says something, pops out. That's it. Exactly right. Yeah. Definitely. To be fair, Michael Caine's another one, really, where just the only film where he doesn't sound like Michael Caine is his first film, pretty much, which is Zulu. So,
Yeah, well, he's really trying to put on a posh accent. But that's another one the Zulu and The Man Who'd Be King is something else should rewatch sometime.
Man would be King, great. And Waterloo, rewatch it. You might like it. Rod Steiger's in it, man.
I don't think he's overrated. I think he's very good. He wrote some of the best Twilight Zone episodes. He wrote some great film, but I think he wrote a lot of schlock as well. Children of Men. I'm not sure
It was okay. It was okay. But if I was to say my favorite Michael Caine film, actually both of them were really good in it. And they're not two people you would think of as being particularly good actors. And it was The Quiet American. I don't know if you saw it, Sean, but they did The Quiet American with Brendan Fraser.
But that's a remake, isn't it?
Well, it's not. What do you mean? I mean, it's based off a book, isn't it? So.
Oh, but I mean, but there was an earlier version, I'm pretty sure.
Probably. But this one is actually, I think, pretty good.
I've not seen that one.
Neither actor I would say is, they're really great, but both were superb in this film.
Because that's a Graham Greene novel, isn't it?
Yeah. I don't know what the original.
I'm sure there's an earlier one.
I'm sure there probably is. Yeah, there's a 1958. Michael Redgrave and Audie Murphy.
Yeah.
But this one's 2002.
Yeah, I've not seen that one. Brendan Fraser would just turn me off of it. That's for sure.
No, don't take that attitude seriously. He's really good.
But yeah, well, there's just some actors or actresses that if they're in it, they just sort of turn me off of it. It doesn't mean that it's going to be a bad film. It's like I like 12 Monkeys. And I didn't like, what's the Die Hard actor? But then I don't think he's a great actor, but I thought he was pretty good in that and Fifth Element. But the other guy I can't stand. He can't act his way out of a wet paper bag. The other actor on there, I can't think of his name.
Oh, Brad Pitt.
Brad Pitt, yeah.
Rubbish, yeah. I mean,
Bruce
Willis is someone I will watch almost anything he's in because he's fun for me. I think he's good fun, but But John's right. I'm not saying generally, but in The Quiet American, the remake is a very good film, and both Michael Caine and Brendan Fraser are excellent in it.
Oh well, yeah, they could like I say, it's like, but there's just there's some actors that I go that unless there's something else, you see, Michael Kane might bring me to watch it because he's in it, because I like Michael Kane despite that. But if it's just the only name I know is Brendan Fraser, I will probably pass it by unless there's something else that's happening. Ad Astra, is that a film? Because there's a science fiction prize called Ad Astra.
I don't know, John. If that's to me, I don't know what it is.
Brad Pitt has to be in the right film.
Not for me, Gareth. I'm afraid. Don't see any. That whole group of them. To be honest, even Clooney, Pitt, Damon.
Clooney can do good stuff, like in Good Night and Good Luck was really good. That was a good film, and he was good in that, I thought. Wow.
Yeah, you see, words can inspire. You should do that. 2 truths and 1 lie. You've got a perfect one there.
Yeah. Warwick Davis is the greatest actor of all time. Well, Sean Connery and him, I think they were both in were they in Time Bandits?
Yeah.
Yeah. So there you go. That was a good film.
That's Gilliam, isn't it? All right. I'm sorry. You can obviously stay on. I don't know if you want to stay on, but I'm.
No, I'm having struggle. I'm struggling to talk at times.
That's been fun. So we'll be back on Saturday, hopefully.
Yeah, with a guest. We'll have a guest on Saturday.
Yeah, you'll have to remind me when we go off who it is. I can't remember who's. Yeah. I know. Yeah.
It's always a secret until the day.
Yeah. I think.
Yeah. Well, thanks for everybody for stopping by and bearing with me. I'll see you next time.
Take care, everybody. See you Saturday. Bye.